Birdland, some of my charts, and then rock.
Okay. I think we had a style thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Starting with styles and creating different.
Yeah, but I thought there was something. I don't write down your guys' notes anymore. I need to start doing that again. There was something that we were doing, right? Specifically with styles.
Being able to play a verse and a chorus differently.
Is that what it was?
Yep.
I think it was. So.
No, it was you would ask me to play a
That's
style.
right.
Both of the styles.
So last week, we picked rock because that was the easiest one for you, right? And the idea is that you play something for the verse pattern. You give me a fill that brings the energy up. Go into a chorus section, play that for another 8 bars, then have a lighter fill that comes back down into a verse section. And it would be good to be able to do that in every style. Because if you can do that, then you can at least survive any song in any of those styles. If they have a bunch of extra hits and chokes and stuff and you don't know it, well, you're not going to catch those without some kind of cue. So, but as long as you know the styles, you'll be okay for the most part. So last time we did rock, was that the only one we did? Because we were just learning the form, right?
Yep. Then you went into reading a chart.
Okay. Then let's see. I still won't go super hard today. Let's do bossa. So I need a verse pattern for bossa. I need a fill, and then a chorus pattern for bossa, and then coming back down. There you go. So that's, remember we talked about how to remember if you don't remember. So starting with the feet and then going into your hands. Okay, so give me an 8-bar verse, a fill, 8-bar chorus, another fill, back to the verse, and I'll cut you off. So be careful with your fills though. Where fills, the first one was a bit late coming back into the downbeat. The second one was just a tiny bit late. So, but you know, we gotta be careful with those, right? Even if they're simple, they can be really simple. One of my favorite bossa fills, I think I showed you, was just boom ba boom boom. Super simple, but it feels nice, and as long as it's on time, it's gotta be on time, right? If we're fumbling with the floor tom and we're a little bit late, then that's no good. Okay, one more time, same thing. You can change up whatever you want, but I still want that same point. Too much energy coming back down to a verse, but otherwise it was cleaner. Both fills got to the downbeat on time. You felt comfortable, so good. Just you have a lot of time to think, so use that time to think maybe about what kind of fill you're wanting to do going up into the chorus, and what kind of fill you want to do coming out. Okay. Let's do one more. We'll do 2 of these a week. How about shuffle? Give me a verse pattern for a shuffle. I'll tell you what, you can pick either just a standard shuffle or a halftime. I'll let you pick. Your stick's got to scoot back in your hand a little bit. I'm seeing a lot of this where you're choked way back on the stick, which is what's causing you to bossa. You want to play more up here, but your bossa was kind of chunky because you were down here. You can pick standard or halftime. Whoa. Interesting. We rewound back to Bassa. I will say that was nice. You just kind of went for something simple for your fill. Doesn't have to be complicated, but as long as it's clean, right? Okay, so figure out what you want to do for your chorus, and then let's go again. So figure out what you want to do. Okay. Probably my favorite of your fills so far. You used that last one you just used at the end. You used a double, you brought the energy way down, and then dropped back into your. Yeah, that's cool. I liked it. Okay, so that'll cut it for today. We're gonna keep doing those kinds of things in the future. So we'll do Mambo, we'll do other stuff. But for today, that is enough for styles.
Because this is replacing your fake yawning. Now you have to drink water. No, we're here to learn. We're not here to waste time.
We're not here to be properly hydrated.
Knock it off, Zane. The attitude, stuff that we've been talking about, that rolling of your eyes right there.
All right. Let's see what I feel like today. I want to do this one.
Oh no.
This, I could have picked much harder ones.
Like a 3-page.
So, walk me through it. What are we doing?
This one.
Yep.
I think.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what, rather than having it so far away from you, you can take a look at the chart. But tell me everything that you need to know before you get started. Let's walk through it.
It's about 130.
Mm-hmm.
And it's in 4/4.
Good. Next. So that's step 1, right? What's the next thing you look for?
It's rhythm section.
Well, rhythm section is just that it's a drum chart, right?
No, drums don't do that.
It's drum plus. So if you were doing vibraphone, for example, here's all the chord changes so that you
What's
could.
a vibraphone?
It's like a xylophone, but with metal keys, and you can push a pedal so that they ring. Kind of nice. But they have those in jazz bands oftentimes, and if you're going to comp the changes, guitar would also use this. Bass would use it, right? So the chords are really for
It's just
the rest of them.
Yeah, it's just a lot of swing.
Mm-hmm. It is, which is why it's not that tough of a chart. So after you give me the style, time signature, and tempo, what's the next thing you're looking for?
Any big parts?
Well, we're not quite on figures yet. There's one other thing before figures that you need to check for.
This.
You're usually not going to find it on the first page.
Any, like, what is it that? Not that coda.
Yeah, that's what you're looking for. So you're looking for repeats, you're looking for codas, you're looking for things like that.
Not really repeats, no coda.
Mm-mm. So nothing on this one. So that means it's just straight through, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So then what are we looking for? So that's step 1, step 2. Good. What's 3?
Figures?
Yeah.
Any big plays?
Mm-hmm. So now we look at figures.
This is just time.
Well, when they have stuff in the middle, those are usually things they want you to play, right? But yeah, a lot of it's time. That's just time. That's just time.
There's a
Time.
few hits.
Yeah. Yeah, just a couple, not too many.
A triplet.
Good. Good catch.
Mm,
Especially what are the ones that should jump out at you the most? Ones with. What's the difference between these and these?
notes and just like there's this one's facing downward and it says a kind of a cut.
So do these look more important or do these look more important?
Bottom.
These ones? Yeah. So especially if you start to see like note heads and things, that's something that's pretty important for you to grab.
And then it's just.
And then you want to look for challenging rhythms. So do you see any on that page that might be tricky?
No, except there's an entire repeat from here.
Oh, we did find a
to
repeat.
here.
Yep.
You play this,
So you pretty much play the second page twice, right?
and then you play it. Then you just do the last two lines. And
What about that rhythm in the middle?
That
Do you know how to do that?
Nope.
Okay, so if you don't know how to do it,
these are less important. Just if you hit them. If you don't,
sure, but it's still a good idea to know how they go. So if you run into a rhythm that you don't know how to play, you might want to spend a little bit of time making sure that you could play that rhythm. Okay, take a look at page 3. We'll come back to the tough rhythms.
and that's just this, like a half note, and basically it.
Yep. Any tough rhythms on that page?
Not really.
Do you know how to do that one?
Doobie-bop.
Well, what is that rhythm? Then you can decide whether it's a doobie-doo-bah or whatever. Do you know how that goes? Could you count that?
No.
How about we try? So, first of all, what's the first note on? Where's the first note start? So count the slashes.
1, 2, 3, and.
Yeah, so and of 3, which means that this whole rhythm fits into what beat?
It's in the beat and a half. It's in the.
Well, that's your and of 3. So that first note is on what? It's an 8th note on the and of 3, meaning your first note after it is what?
4.
Yeah, which means that whole rhythm right there all fits into one beat, right? It all fits into beat 4. So how does that go? I think it's simpler than you're making it. I'm going to tell you and you're going to go, oh, that actually is not hard at all. So just think about what you're looking at there.
Doobie-bop.
Well,
No.
right now I'm talking about like quarters, 8ths, 16ths.
16th, 8th.
So count it, Zane. Like you were counting an actual note rhythm. That's what he's asking you to do.
How would you count that rhythm? So we already went over that that's 3 and, so then 4.
Wait.
So I gave you one of the notes already. You just have to figure out what the other ones are.
1, 2, would this be 3 and.
And then what's beat 4?
4 and.
So 4E and if it was just 4 16th notes, but is that what it is?
No.
No? What is it missing?
Missing this. Missing the 3rd.
Okay, what is that?
So 4E up.
So if it's 4E then how would it sound if you were to click it out?
3.
So you would play your regular time for the first 2 beats,
So.
and then Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4E 1. 3, 1. Right. So this is an and, but we are playing in swing, which means that the and is a little bit later than it would normally be when it's straight, right? 1, 2, 3, 4E 1, right? Okay. So now do the same thing that we just did for the other one. What's the other one near the bottom there? Yep, work that out.
What was that one again?
What?
Was this one?
What was that one? Well, you worked it out. What is it? You tell me.
It's
That's
this,
not- that's not-
this twice.
Good. You recognize the pattern. Yep. It's just that pattern 2 times. So what is that? Very close. The first one was right. So it's not. That's not quite right. So if it's a little tricky, then let's count it out. So count beat 3 for me. 3E,
4E.
and then is it?
Yes. 3E, 4E.
3E, 4E, So how does that go? There it is. So that's correct. 3E, 4E, So if we were to play that, it's a little too complicated for Duba Duba. There's too much stuff going on in there, right? But what you might be able to get away with is a quick rough bark, bark. That could work, right? So that kind of thing could work. There isn't a rest afterwards, so maybe I would put a ride. So that's ding. Yep. So that kind of stuff is important to be able to work through on your own, so that if you run into something that you're not really sure what to play, you don't have to play it, right? We've sort of talked about that, right? But sometimes you get asked to. In fact, I've been having Gabe play this one, and John asked him the other day to play it, and he was sunk because he never bothered to learn it, even though he's had it for weeks. Because he was like, well, I thought it didn't matter. I said, well, you don't have to hit it unless the director, I still told you it was worth it to learn the pattern.
Yeah.
So, it's something that we're going to start doing. Right now we're getting used to sight reading charts at all, but eventually we're going to get to a point where I want you to try to catch as many figures as possible, and especially the hard ones, right? It's the same as how you wouldn't have fun with a kindergarten book, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you need something that's a little more challenging, right? So in the same way, I'm going to start having you do more, okay? So let me see if I can find... I'm not sure I'm finding this exact arrangement.
There was one where there was just a break in the middle. The cha-cha one, I think.
On a Misty Night, Joan Chamorro. I have Joan Monet. Tad Dameron.
Joan Monet. Did you search up Joan?
Yeah, I did. I did search the arranger. Let me see if I also add.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Well, that's the closest one that I'm seeing. So, and this looks like a school band. So let's try this one. If the arrangement ends up being wrong, do the best you can. Okay. But if I don't have the exact arrangement for you, you know what? Now that I think about it, he got that directly from the guy. So I don't think that's necessarily. I don't think this version has been mass produced at the moment. He was telling me that he he emailed the guy who lives in Spain and actually got him. This is caught on something. Can you lift up the back foot of your chair? Can you lean forward? So like this. Here. Ooh, pinched that pretty good.
What did I do?
No, it's just me. I need to be more careful with my cables.
It's almost like you're a drummer and not a sound engineer.
Well, I get in here and sometimes when I'm teaching back to back to back to back, it's like put the headphones down, grab the new student, whatever. I'm not really like the other one is I haven't been able to find my. Oh, it must have been borrowed. Yep, because that's not my.
No.
I was like I couldn't find that yesterday. Okay. Close enough for right now. Okay? I'll tell you what, I'll even be your page turner. Sound good? You see it okay from there? All right. Start back at the beginning. Okay. Here we go. So read as best you can. So what's our first goal?
Get through.
Get through it. In the end. What's our second goal?
Hit all the notes.
Yeah, hit as many figures as you can. Okay, if you miss a figure, is it the end of the world?
No.
No, you don't. But I want you to try them. Okay? All right. Here we go. So, oh well. I guess because that one's a special thing, this would be one that we could run just as a dry read, right? So those are a little bit harder, but they force you to read because you got no other context to go off of, right? So, tell you what, I know those are a little bit, those are a little chunkier, a little drier, kind of tough to get through. we'll do this, and I'll let you pick the next one. Sound good? Let's go through it dry without the track, because we don't have a recording for this. I'll help you keep track of measures. Okay.
As I said, I know it would be a good thing to play to. The thing that you hate playing to, but you actually get good at it.
What?
Metronome.
Mm-hmm. It even gives us an exact metronome marking.
That just says 130 notes. I think that means there's 130 of these in
Nope.
there.
Whenever you see quarter note equals and then a number, that is the tempo. Okay, so concentrate less on fancy chops and stuff, and see how many of the rhythms we can get. Okay. Tell you what, I want to see. So I'm gonna have this little clicker here. Every correct figure that you run, I'm gonna give you a tally. We're gonna see what that looks like by the end. Sound good? So that means your comps don't have to be fancy. You can be very, very basic jazz swing, because you got a decent number of comps. You got things to do, right? But if you go and you go for one of these tom licks and then you end up missing the fill, then you're missing out on the point. Yeah. All right. Let's give it a try from the top. So at the beginning, these are just half note pings on the cymbals. Ding, ding, ding. What?
Ready?
Yeah. Here we go. I'll count you in. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we go. So, here's the deal. There was a switch that flipped about halfway, actually, probably right about the repeat. So when we went back up to here, and all of a sudden it was like, boom, caught that one, boom, caught that, boom, caught that, caught like a couple of them in a row, boom, nailed it, boom, nailed it. And you just started bam, 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 bam. So I don't really know what was going on at the beginning, and we can talk about it, right? But what was happening was that instead of going for just your simple rough barks or your dooba-doobahs, you started trying to get in all these other things, and it was just sort of all over the place, right? So it wasn't clean, it wasn't the correct rhythm, that just seemed like I'm throwing paint at the wall to see what sticks, you know? It wasn't so much...
Sounds fun.
Well, sure, but that's not what we were here to do for this, right? So... around the time that we repeated back up to the second page, all of a sudden, boom, 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 boom. So I would say probably prior to the repeat, meaning the whole first 2 pages that you played, it was probably only like 5 points, maybe less. You got most of your points on the last page and the second time through, okay? So if that's a mind thing where you just had to decide, okay, time to get serious, great. We need to be able to kick that on right away. If it was just sort of, you know, I'm trying all these other special things and it's not really working, let me change it up. Okay, great. You know, but what I'm looking for, especially in a dry read where there's no context, I just want as simple as possible. You know, you're looking at this page, 1, 2, dooba dooba, 2, dooba dooba, ba, 3, 4, roomba, ba, dooba dooba, roomba, ba, 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 do, ba, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
So if you miss some of these in here, like that one might be a little bit tricky because that's just the first 2 of a dooba dooba. It's not the last. And then you got one here, so you can't. If you turn that into a dooba dooba, this kind of gets messed up. So if there's a little mistake in there because you tried to go for a dooba dooba, fine. But I was hearing these like rah 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 rah, and it's like I don't know what you're even going for here half the time. Simple dooba dooba. I was going to give you like 5 points if you nailed that. I was just going to if you got that one, or that one, because we spent extra time talking about those ones in particular.
In all, that should be like 15 points if I got all 3 of those.
Yeah, it'd be a lot, which is almost as many as you got for the whole thing, just for hitting those 3.
18's not bad.
Yeah, well, yeah, because you got serious halfway through. The beginning was.
I think I hit like 1, 2.
Not very many on the first page. Yeah.
Hey, Bubbas, imagine if we just recorded this with a click track and then he takes it to the high school drummers. It says, here it is, to a click track. Somebody did it.
Yeah, they can't do this right now. So I'm challenging you to do this because I think you can. I just think you have to be in the right headspace. And lately you have not really been giving it your all. When I put jazz in front of you, you get mopey, you get yawny, you get kind of tired, and then while I'm shuffling and doing other things, you're jamming some rock and you got energy, and then I go, okay, time for jazz, and then see it come back down, right? So this stuff gets fun, but the more I have to fight you, the more it feels like a chore. Yeah? When you kicked it halfway through, that was exciting. The music started coming alive. You started doing good. I'm like, yeah, go. That was good. Oh, perfect. Boom, boom, boom. It was exciting, right? But if you're only doing it half-heartedly, then there's a couple things there. First of all, you're not having a good time because you're moping, right? We're not having a good time because we're trying to keep you from moping. For 3, we have to spend more time on it. That's the irony, right? If you gave it your all and you ripped through these like you did rock and bass drum, we'd be done already.
Like what you're doing right now.
Yeah? You know what I mean? So it's the more that we kind of drag our feet on it and, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do it, I don't want to do it, the longer we have to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even just from a practical standpoint, right? You just, I don't like doing this. Let's just get through it. Like, if you give it 100%, then we're going to rip through it and you're going to be done. No problem. Then I'm going to put, this doesn't go on to infinity, right? So it doesn't, I'm not eventually then giving you like Frank Zappa charts to sight read, which are some of the most infamously like brutal drum charts of all time.
Who's
Yeah.
Frank Zappa?
You'll find out eventually.
Well, you'll find out sooner or later. But his drummer Terry Bozzio was a monster reader, and so Frank Zappa, who was also a monster like composer, decided to create a chart. They called it the Black Pages because it was so heavy, so much ink that the page looked black because he was trying to stump his drummer.
Did it ever work?
Not really. Terry was able to play it, and so it's just one of those things where, you know, it doesn't have to go to infinity, but it has to eventually get to a point where I can just kind of grab a high school level jazz chart, throw it in front of you, and you're able to go. That's where pretty much where it ends, right? Unless you are having, by that point, I would be willing to bet that you'd be having fun. And then once you're having fun, then I can just keep throwing charts in front of you and we're having a good time. We're back to enjoying it, right? But
Once
even
I'm
if you
getting paid,
don't,
I'm having fun.
What?
Once I'm getting paid, I'm having fun.
Well, that's not always true, as someone who got paid to play drums a lot. But yeah. So we gotta get there, you know. We're not gonna be reading doctorate level stuff, but we're gonna get to a point where these kinds of charts are no big deal for you. If you get to a point where high school charts are easy, then you're chilling, you know.
I wish I could read charts like I can read books.
Then work on it.
Yeah, I'm trying to get you there. We'll get you there. It's not that you're not smart enough. You think you're too dumb to read those charts?
No.
No, I don't think so either. That's silly, right? You definitely can. You just got to apply yourself in the same way that you do with books. Yeah. But it'll happen. And the charts are super fun, I think. I'm having a blast. And so is Angel, actually, at the school working through Pink Panther. That's a fun chart, dude.
It is.
It's a super fun chart. You get solos. They're doing Sofrito right now, which is also a really fun chart.
Is Sofrito the cha-cha?
Yeah, the cha-cha.
Oh, wow.
You get like some solos in there and stuff. It's super fun.
Do they have a Wiro? Because that's
Yep.
what they're gonna... Good.
But we actually just got a new one and it's pretty nice. So, because we had some like metal one before and I'm like, Bruce is terrible.
Sounded like a cheese grater.
Yeah, it was sheet metal. Like really high pitched metal grinding. I'm like, this is horrible. But yeah, we got a good wooden one. So Sonia's been playing on that. But okay, as promised.
I get to pick.
Yep. And pick anything in my stack as well. Actually, that's one that Jackson's working. That one's kind of fun too. You could even learn that one if you want.
Book.
Yeah.
I spelled it wrong.
Okay.
B-E-A-R.
I think that's the play on words.
They still spelled it wrong.
Because the bare necessities would be like,
Look for
if
the...
I tried to cook something and I didn't have the bare necessities, I wouldn't have the instruments that I needed in order to cook. The bare essentials, the bare minimum things
What's
that
a
I need.
what's a Dixieland
But a bear is singing
swing?
the song, so.
What's a Dixieland swing?
We could learn that.
I think you'd have fun with it.
I would want to take a listen through first.
That can be arranged.
Okay. Otherwise, my pick is probably going to be this.
Okay. But I'm gonna make you read the chart. You don't get to just fly through it from memory because it's your favorite one. All right, got your headset? Listen a little bit.
Hold on.
Yeah, I'm making sure that I don't mix up yours and mine. Okay, got your headset. Kind of a cool chart too. This is middle school, by the way. Jackson's in middle school. This is different. Don't worry about it. Oh, that's almost a punk rock groove.
Yes.
Not so bad, right? So basically, what a Dixieland swing is it's like jazz and a 2-beat put together. So you get to play a 2-beat, doon da, doon da, but it's yeah. All right,
I'm gonna learn that now.
you want to learn this one?
Yes.
Yeah, this one's fun.
Yeah, we have fun.
Jackson brought it in the other day, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna steal a copy of that.
Get your headphones on.
All right, here we go. So for a first read, don't do a lot of improvising. Again, try to catch figures if you can. So you're looking for bop, 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 stop, that kind of stuff, right? You're looking to set up new sections. Watch when they tell you what to play. So when you see the circle and the plus, what does that mean? Do you know? So right? And they take it away here, and what does that say? Can you read that? Ride. What does that mean? When the X is on the snare drum line. Yeah, trust it. Okay? And then, this is the other one you gotta watch out for. What is that? Do you remember hearing that in the recording? So you're just gonna play on the rim just straight up. Da 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 da. Yeah. Then you got a fill coming in here. Then you. There you go, you're actually trying to reach it now. Go slow. Almost. Just get a snare on the end. There you go. But is it a punk rock song? Okay. So you brought it down. Are you still straight or are you swung? Flying. You're excited that it feels punk rocky, but try to make it sound like the jazz song. There you go. Here we go. So take it serious as best you can. Okay. Tell you what. See if you can beat your score.
Every hit.
Yeah, I'm going to give you a point for proper setups. I'm going to give you a point for everything that's in the chart. Everything that's in the chart that you play, I'm going to give you a point for it. If it's harder, I might give you bonus points, but I don't know that there's anything that hard in this chart. So, I'll watch for it. But I'll give bonus points at the end for dynamics. Yeah? But I might take points away for sloppiness. We start going crazy for no reason. Yeah? So, take it serious. Pretend like there's a performance. Yeah? Okay. I know it's a sight read, so I'm not expecting perfection. All right. Here we go. close, and that was basically 2 less pages. Because the swing song technically was 4 pages, right?
Yeah.
Because the second page was twice. So you got 17 that time. What do you think what the big difference was? Do you think this is that much easier of a chart?
Not really.
No.
It's a little more fun. I like it more.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Dixieland Swing, whatever it is.
Okay, sure.
Dixie.
Dixie.
Yeah.
So Dixieland Swing.
That's fun.
Good. Good.
Anytime it's somewhat rockish, it's fun.
Well, I think more than that. I know that you feel like it has to be rock or nothing, but what I'll say is that rock is what you're most comfortable with. Is really all it is. I think just being comfortable is going to make everything else a lot more fun. It's uncomfortable to play bossa and samba and all of these things because you don't really play them when you're at home. So Dixieland, the fact that it was a lot like a 2-beat, felt comfortable. It felt at home. And so because it was comfortable, you felt a little more relaxed while you were reading. The more that you listen to bossas, the more that you listen to sambas and mambos and regular jazz swing and all that kind of stuff, like you'll get more comfortable with it and then it won't be so bad.
It's not that
We used to do the Freddie Freeloader, and since we did it a bunch of times, you got comfortable with it. When it got comfortable, it got fun. Out of nowhere was a lot of fun because we did it a bunch of times. You got comfortable with it.